nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're settled in, Joan.
Thank you.
Karen Titus.
Here.
Joanna Donahue.
Here.
Tim Parrish.
Here.
Rod Fair.
Here.
Rita Drain.
Here. Alright, number 4, any public comments? Seeing none, we'll go right to number 5. So review and approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting dated Tuesday, April 13th.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, comments? Joanna,
Joan.
no comments?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, township warrants for approval for payment for May 13, 2021 in the amount of $52,008.01. The motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion, comments, questions?
I saw you got $5,000 deposit down for the windows.
They requested it. I think they thought that payment came a little late. They were hounding me before.
But we're locked in, good to go, ordered. Did they give you a lead time?
They did or they did not?
No, I had to hurry up and order them before Paula was going up again. Anything else?
Yeah, all the ones to, was it UPS, Brian Coley over there? That's
Newsletter.
newsletter? That's what I thought.
Last time I'm going there.
Last time.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Anything else? Whenever you're ready, Tony, please.
Rod Parrish.
Yes.
Tim Parrish.
Yes.
Joanna Donahue.
Yes.
Karen Titus.
Yes.
Rita Drain.
Yes. Motion carries. Number 7, road district warrants for approval for payment May 13th. Oh, this is 21. Okay, okay, alright. 22. Sorry, guys. In the amount of $442,256.86.
So moved. I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second. Or Joanna.
Any discussion, comments, questions?
I have a question, but I wanna wait till Mike does his report. Just talking about asphalt costs.
Okay. Anything else?
It's a big month,
Yeah.
400,000+, that's a lot.
Alright. Whenever you are ready.
Rod Parrish.
Yes.
Karen Titus.
Yes.
Joanna Donahue.
Yes.
Tim Parrish.
Yes.
Rita Drain.
Yes. Motion carries. Number 8. Kelly, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. So I have to the email, but I'm going to pass it out anyway, sorry. And this is just the summary of the survey and a couple statistics when it comes to, accidents and, sorry, I don't get this so before we get into that, I wanna say thank you. I appreciate you guys listening to me, and if you can't hear me, tell me to take the mask off. I'm going on a big trip in 10 days, and I don't wanna get sick, so I'm being very cautious. So thank you again. I want to start by just imagining yourself sitting at a left turn. So you're sitting at an intersection, a T intersection, and you're trying to make a left turn onto busy traffic. So whether you're leaving Dvorak onto Edgewood, or onto Walk Up, whether you're on Edgewood over here, trying to make a left onto Walk Up, 31, or, Village onto Randall. It's really stressful. So think about that and how nerve-wracking and how much pressure there is. Now imagine you're 16 or 17 and you have a line of cars of your peers behind you. So you need to turn, you want to get out of there because everybody's looking at you. You have a couple friends in the car, and just the pressure that it is to make that left turn. Or you're a parent and you have your kids in the car. That happens at each day too. So that's what it's like leaving Prairie Ridge every day at 3 o'clock after school. And, there's been many accidents, I'll get into that later. There are even lines of cars, parents picking up their kids into Dvorak going into the school. So you have 2 solid lines of cars coming and going. My neighbor's son was riding his bike, and he's a really, really careful kid, and he almost got hit just last week. There was an accident 2 weeks ago, so there's a lot of accidents and near misses there. So my goal here is to do something before a student, a child gets seriously hurt or even dies. So the school right now has 1,300 kids. Now, that is on the low end of what it has been, but if you think about the new developments that are happening on the other side of 31, and also 31 is gonna be widened in the next couple years. They have the funds for it, they're planning on it. People are gonna be taking walk-up. And so it's gonna get busier. You have trucks going through, you're gonna have even more. So that's, population's going to increase. And then if you look at the map there, you'll see Dvorak. I don't know how familiar you all are, but there's the 2 entrances. There's the main entrance on walk-up and the athletic entrance off Pleasant Hill. So we know that there's a flashing light that says 20 miles an hour when school kids are present. Well, nobody goes to 20 miles an hour. Nobody does, even when kids are present. It's going from 45 down to 40 right there. And I would say most people go between 45 and 50 along that stretch of road. So if you're trying to make a left-hand turn and it's crowded and people are going 45 to 50, it's gonna be really tough. So I'll tell you how we got to this point. Even before I was a board member, I talked to a lot of people about the entrance and that we needed a stoplight. After becoming a board member, I had people reach out to me and talk to me. I had teachers, this all started actually with a couple teachers at Prairie Ridge who contacted me and said they almost saw kids who were walking across get hit. So after asking around to parents and teachers, asking a question on Facebook, I made a survey. And the survey was sent to, from District 155, from District 47. It was sent to as many contacts as I could send it to, and it was on many different local Facebook pages. And I tried to be objective as I could. So I asked about this concern for safety in both entrances, at school times, at athletic or after event times, and their concern for safety, and also if they thought there should be a light. And I got 415 responses. And you can see the responses on there. The majority of them are very or extremely concerned. And 85% said that they would like a light at that intersection. So, as you can see, the consensus was definitely an interest in student safety. After that survey was sent out the last quarter of 2021. Now, since then, I've spoken to the county transportation department, I've talked to the county board chairman, I've talked to the local county board district members in our district, and I've talked to the transportation director, county engineers about different things that we can do here. I've talked to Mike, I've talked to the mayor of Crystal Lake, and I would say that most of these people, even if they want to be off the record, want a light there. And unfortunately, some people want to be off the record because there's some political play going on. So when I spoke with the transportation department last week, their concern at that time was the jurisdiction of that intersection. And I know that there's a lot of history with that. Who owns the intersection, who polices? I mean, that stretch of road doesn't even get policed very much because city and county can't decide whose it is. So they were looking into seeing whose jurisdiction it was. I've talked to the school administration about this, and unofficially, I know that most of the people want this. There are a couple of them that can't come out and say this. They all say student safety is our main concern. Student safety is our main concern. I also looked and went into their finances and saw that the school has a tort fund that is over $6 million, and it only needs $4 million in there, so they do have some funds. Now, I can't say they need to take them out of there, but they have some funds that can pay for it. And the problem I'm having with the school administration is that they won't commit to saying they want it until the county decides what they wanna do. And I have a feeling it's because they don't want to say, yes, we want it here, but then you have all the other schools who say they want a stoplight. I know that would be a lot of money. They're telling me the stoplight would be about $500,000. But you can't put a price on a child's life. I mean, how much would any of us pay to keep our child safe? I also spoke with the school resource officer, and he said that when he goes out there and directs traffic as much as possible, he can't be there all the time. Last year, he couldn't be out there one day, and a girl driving a car got T-boned when she was pulling out making a left. He says that the left-hand turn onto Walkup is the worst, and kids are waiting there, and then they try to go, and they just peel out, and they go too fast. He's almost been hit. I think it's a liability to the school system and the city that he's out there directing traffic, because it's not like McHenry where people are going 30 miles an hour. It is 40 miles an hour. Most times they're going more than that, like I said. So accidents, you guys have this on there. Between 2014 and 2018, there were 67 accidents. There are also other accidents that happened on Dvorak itself or in the parking lot, but these 67 were at the intersection. There were 7 injuries from the accidents. All but 3 of these 67 were during school hours. 25 were after school, 15 before school, and 14 were lunchtime. So think about most of those kids leave for lunch and they're racing back from Chick-fil-A to get to the next class. So that's some of it too. In the police reports, the primary contributor was failure to reduce speed to avoid a crash, or improper turning and no signal. And the secondary contributor to almost all of them was driving skills, knowledge, and expertise. So you think about a teenager and their brains are not fully functioned, they take more risks, and so they're not gonna have that expertise in the practice. I also got I got a few accident records from the city. 2019, there were 4 accidents, all before or after school. 2020, we can't use because of COVID. 2021, I just looked from the start of school in August until December when they were starting full-time, and there were 4 between October through winter break. So that's more than 1 a month at that intersection. There were also 3 around lunchtime and 2 after school let out. So we're talking about before and after school. We're also talking about, and people say, well, we could have a policeman or policewoman direct traffic there. Well, there's also after school activities. There's baseball games, basketball games, football, there's plays, where we were just at prom and people were parking on the grass, it was so packed. So there are a lot of activities there. Summer school, after school practices and summer practices. There's a lot of need. Concerns, so there's the concerns that have been brought up that there's too many stoplights right in a row. You'd have Pleasant Hill, you'd have the Dvorak, and then you'd have Bayside. Well, you can have the stoplight triggered, so it's always green unless somebody's sitting at that intersection. Or there's a pedestrian who wants to cross. That stoplight's kind of at the bottom of a hill, so there is line of sight from the top of those hills. We also want to be careful of the people walking, because you have the bike path that's going to Dvorak, and then you have the new path path that, you guys installed along Dvorak, so more kids are walking, more kids are biking. School buses actually even diverted when this was starting to be a problem, they also go out the back entrance on Pleasant Hill, because they don't want to go out, walk up. But both sides are gridlocked with cars. And I just wanna say that, well, first of all, they did a study, they did a traffic study in 2000, and it said it was warranted, that there was a stoplight warranted at that time. And you don't have to have a warrant saying it's necessary if it's for safety purposes by statute. So my aim here is to leave behind all the controversy from the past, because that's what keeps getting brought up in the meetings. Well, when the school was built, this should have been done, well, that was 20-some years ago, that has no relevance if somebody gets hurt right now. Ideally, it would be nice if we could take this intersection and split the cost 4 ways. So you have Nunda, the school district, the city of Crystal Lake, and the county. And the county does have money, they have money in their budget, and they have ARPA funds that we can use for it. So in closing, I just wanna say, think about your kids and the pressure of them driving, and how scary it is when we let our 16-year-olds go out there driving for the first time, and sitting there at that stoplight and trying to make a left, because I know I've had a difficult time. So to me, this is not a political issue, this is just to keep our kids safe, and that's all I'm trying to do. And if anybody has not been there, the handout here shows you where Prairie Ridge is, and then the 2 entrances. Here's walk up, I know yours kinda got washed out, walk up goes down here. But here are views from above, and then if you're sitting at the intersection. One other thing I'll tell you is that, the day of the transportation committee, I was informed that they installed a push button flashing light to crosswalk up. And that was for pedestrians only. Well, it is on, so this is one of the reasons why I gave this handout. If you look at here, and you're sitting on the Dvorak, the crosswalk's here. So these kids who are trying to make a left are going to make a left right into the crosswalk. And they may not even pay attention if the flashing light's going on. And since I've driven by, twice I've seen kids try to cross without even pushing the lights. So there wasn't even any education about how they work. So please consider this. I really think that if we just put our governments, all 4 taxing bodies together, and put it in the frame of student safety, and we can all collaborate and work together, then there shouldn't be any issues of jurisdiction or even funds. I think there's plenty of funds that we can find. So thank you.
When do you think you'll hear from county?
Well, they're still looking into the jurisdiction. So, and unfortunately, I'm gonna be gone the next transportation meeting. So I'm thinking we won't even be talking about this till June, end of June.
What does Chris Lake have to say?
Well, so when I first spoke with the mayor, he says it's needed. He definitely does. When he went back to talk to his lawyer, the lawyer said that is not Crystal Lake property, and it's going into the whole annexation and whatever happened when the school was built in '97, and said it is not Crystal Lake property. We don't want to pay for it. In speaking with a couple people from the county, if we could get everybody in the room, like I said, to make it, everybody works together, then I think he may change his mind.
Did the school district say anything about that they would contribute as well, or you didn't really get probably an answer? No.
So, they alluded to that, I can't be on record about it, but they alluded that if it was decided to be done, yes.
And you said it's about 500,000 for it?
Yeah.
Thank you for your work on this.
Yeah, thank you.
Nicole.
Incredible amount of
Did a
work.
lot of work.
Kelly, I'm
Honestly.
sorry, is the 500,000 for the one light on Dvorak or for both entrances?
The one light on Dvorak. So my goal would then to be taking that flashing light that's crossing walk up and put it on Pleasant Hill. It's already there, the money's already been spent. Might as well use it for student safety there, because you think about all the parades streets and the people walking from the springs over to the, I've almost been hit there too. And there's a crosswalk that people don't pay attention to.
Well,
And
keep
you-
us posted on
That's-
meetings and
Yeah,
what's
I was gonna
going
say,
on.
please keep us in the loop.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Mike, did you find out what the history was of how DeVore Road was put in there? I'll tell you what my understanding is first, you may tell me you're way out of line, you're not. But when District 155 wanted to put a second school in, they got Crystal Lake to annex that piece of property, completely eliminated that drive,
Yep.
and they punched it out on the Pleasant Valley,
Mhm.
because it was easier for them, they didn't have the responsibility of the light, or the intersection. But they also had egress going all the way up to Hillside to put the forced sanitary in. And, they could have put a road out that way, they could have put a road out this way, and not had to worry about walking at all. My understanding of the work said, I'll take it and name it after me.
I didn't hear that last
I,
part.
yes, I think everything that you said was true, except for the Dvorak part. I think the truth of the matter is that after it all happened, he had an assistant, guy who lives over on on Valley View, right next to Covers, actually between Bill Covers and his dad now.
Okay.
Rowe
Rich Rose?
Rich Rose.
Uh-huh.
was Dvorak's assistant, I believe, in the office.
Was.
Yeah.
And he decided that it should be named after Ed Dvorak. So it wasn't that Dvorak was so vain that he did it himself.
I thought it was kind of an honorary thing.
Yeah, that was, we all jump to them conclusions with politicians. But the rest of that sounds pretty accurate, that the city of Crystal Lake didn't want to deal with a stoplight
Or they-
expense nor did the school district at the
Right,
time.
right, we all got boondoggled here.
Right.
And the thing was that in most municipalities or counties or whatever, they have a regional board of education that looks at bid plans when they go out. And then somebody then supervises, is this the right fit? And in Lake County, I have it all the time, Cook County, I have it all the time, where there's actually a regional board of education where the engineer looks at it and say, you know what, this isn't right. And unfortunately, this swept right on through, and it all got passed down to us. And as Nunda residents, I mean, it's in our jurisdiction, but it is in our property, because I think the right of way goes right along those power poles, which is this side of the bike path, isn't it?
What did you just say?
The right of way for the walkout runs with the power poles going down the east side of the road.
Pretty much.
Right, so it's on this side of the current path, is what I'm saying, is the right of way.
Yes.
So most of that intersection is county.
Well, technically, is it a road or is it a driveway?
Right.
That's what.
Technically is what?
It's a road.
Is it a road or is it a driveway?
And isn't that back entrance really the main entrance? Or was it supposed to be the main entrance?
No,
I
it
think it
was
was.
always the
Was
north
supposed
side.
I think it was, because that's where the first big sign was, and that's where they
Right.
put a deceleration lane in, to come
Right.
off Pleasant Valley, to
Right.
have to get into that back.
So I think that was supposed to be the main entrance because the light was there, and then they made the front.
Right.
Cause the parking's more in the back, right? You have a big parking lot in the back, then
No,
the
the
big ones in
bigger
the
ones
front.
in the front.
Yeah.
No, and why, even if you have a regional board of education, why they let that goat trail be that
Just
drive
moves,
going in there.
and they
It
just
doesn't
want
slow
them-
you down,
Nope.
but anyways. I don't know. It's gonna be a McDOT thing. We're gonna have to find it out. If I can find the funding, but unfortunately it takes so long by the time you do design, and you go out for bid, and you actually implement it, install it. I don't know, what was Lily Lake, how many years did it take to get Lily Lake done?
Well, that was through a grant process,
Right.
so it was a bigger pain in the neck, but,
Any grants available for this?
boy, there's a lot of money out there right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, there's money everywhere.
What did they do for McHenry? On Walk up down there, is that a slower speed?
It's 30 and
It's
they have a
30.
police officer there.
Oh, they do,
That backs
Those
up
are all
terrible
juniors and
too.
seniors there, right?
right.
Isn't that upper
With the
classmen?
junior, senior school.
There's
That's
more.
new, but yeah, I
I think
think that
it's
was up
sophomore
just past year or
years
two.
now. I think
So
the
you got
old
more
building's
drivers
only
there.
Freshmen?
What do you
yeah, and that's also new.
Yeah, that's me.
Personally, I think it's an enforcement issue. When you look at Prairie Grove, you're on the hooks going through there,
I do not drive on Bearville Road, I do not.
I'm just saying on one
Like, I
seventy-six.
just, my car does not do that, I just don't drive that road, it just, yeah.
It's stupid.
I go the longer
I
way.
have to.
It's,
Yeah.
my cruise control doesn't even really work,
I
it's
know.
hilly and,
Well,
yeah.
it's all a hill too.
Yeah, it's, I just, one ticket and I was done.
Kelly, your presentation had a lot of common sense, and it hits home for me. And when I went to high school at Central, we had two fatalities happen. One was the railroad crossing right down here at Edgewood, and because of that fatality, they got the arms put in. That was Mike Chapman, I believe his name was. And there was another fatality that wasn't anything to do with the stoplight or anything, but changed me, you know, and you never forget that. And I respect all the work you put in for your neighbors, and I know Johanna brought it up a couple months ago, actually.
I mean, I think before this even started, I think I reached out to Mike, gosh, I sent that email, or like a year or two ago, we were talking about it, and it brought up about, and he had said to go to the county, because it wasn't even an issue. And I think I told you, Mike, I went to South, so turning out onto
Yeah.
McHenry, you know, you counted to 3 and then gunned it.
Mhm.
You held your breath and hoped you made it, and that was,
Right.
there was the light at Elizabeth Ann Seton, but it was, Randall was not that big yet, there was no light there, so it was a straight shot.
Right. You had the same thing at Cary Grove too, and then
Right.
they realigned Main Street,
Right.
parking lot, to
Right.
get people through the light to get them out on the
Right,
Three Oaks Road.
right.
I
So
guess
it's an issue.
One thing I didn't mention is kids do, and people do turn right on the walk up, cause they can't make a left, but then
Right.
they make an immediate left, and then,
They do that U-turn.
Yeah, it says no U-turns there,
And they do.
yeah.
that I know.
That
people
used to be the
won't-
only way I could get out.
Right.
Yeah.
And they won't let
Right.
their kids play outside.
I don't blame them,
Parents hate
because
it.
again, it's still the kids doing that roundabout right there,
Uh-huh.
if they're, and
No, you did a really good job.
you did.
They did a lot of research.
It's been-
Thank you.
It's been a good 7 months. So, thank you, I appreciate you listening.
At least
Could
he
I
has some
mention, I just wanna mention, when I first heard about this, in my mind, knowing where all the liabilities are and all that stuff here, personally, I think it's an enforcement issue, because I don't think people slow down. And they don't slow down because the sheriff isn't enforcing it, you know, and kids make stupid decisions because nobody's watching them. I recommended possibly putting a right turn right out only, you know, realigning Dvorak Drive, make it right turn in, right turn out with a painted median with no left turn signs put up, starting at the top of the hill, one at the stop sign and one right across the street where the bike path is. I mean, it's less than $1,500 to solve that problem, and at least it's a trial, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
it's
but
like you
then
go to
aren't
Wisconsin,
you
you
gonna
get in
clog the
intersections.
back then?
What's that?
Isn't that gonna clog the back entrance then?
Well, then that's the school district's property.
Right, why
problem.
can't they put someone out there
That's-
direct and change
Yep,
that
get
timing
them
on
all
that
out there,
light east
change
and
the
Well, the
west?
dean is usually out there trying to direct traffic in the parking lot and
Right.
getting them going.
Right.
Well, yeah, you're only mentioning the accidents that are
Right.
happening on road, not the ones that are
Accidents
happening in the parking
happening on
lot.
road.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. And to your point, I mean, that could be a possibility, but I also worry about then those kids are gonna turn around in that neighborhood even more. if they
Sure
can
would.
only make
Which is
one.
an enforcement.
Yeah.
And they're-
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I don't know, I have a little picture here that I drew, and I'll give it to anybody that wants to see it, just, to me, that's what makes sense immediately to solve the problem with the left turners pulling out of there. Because I was looking through the accident reports, and a lot of them are people cutting oncoming traffic off and getting clipped. A Couple of them are rear ends going to the right turn where people aren't looking and they get spanked in the rear end. That's all the stuff I looked at, but if anybody wanted to see this, I made a couple copies to see it, but I think it kind of immediately solves the problem with the left turners. You know, in Wisconsin, they do that when they have problems when they can't get people to go left, they put a concrete meat pork chop right in the middle. Force you to go right, people coming right, turn in. I know, I did the work on walk-up from Dvorak Drive to, Cold Springs, no, it's the subdivision on the left, Mike, as you go around the second wiggle curve. Anyways, Coach Lake, I did that with Lake County Grading, and at that time they did an IDOT study, and the time before that, Bodie did the other section before that, and they did an IDOT study, and they only put turn lanes in going into Covered Bridge, they put turn lanes going into Shenandoah, they put turn lanes and lights in at Pleasant Valley, they put turn lanes into the Springs, but they didn't consider Dvorak any of those times. So, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think the numbers are there is what the problem is. So, but I know you have a tough road ahead of you when I go right at it and keep asking somebody for money, but, I mean, have you ever seen the way Nunda works here? We're pretty tight on a penny in the top. But you got a little more juice there. I think you gotta go after Weber and Wilcox and say, you need to find it for your constituents.
One thing, if you don't mind, I
Sure.
did forget to talk about the pedestrians. So it was originally talked about with the pedestrians, if you go up, kids are always trying to cross a coach light, so they're dodging traffic at coach light, or they go up to Hillside, but that Hillside, there is no don't walk signal there.
That was my argument back,
Yes.
because we moved into Covered Bridge and my boys ride bikes and there was nothing to get out. You can't put a light or a crosswalk at Hillside because there's no, sidewalk, and so then we were saying, can they do something out of Vermont, put a flashing light there like what they have at Veterans Acres? But
That's dangerous, when
Right.
the trucks come on.
when the trucks are coming, it's way too dangerous with the kids, but that's the thing, like, the kids aren't trained in something like that, and the trucks, they can't stop, and the kids just see it's flashing green, so they go, and,
I think even if you put it in there because it's uphill,
right,
they're gonna cross over anyways.
right. They're not
Why
gonna-
go up and come back down again?
So that was a big issue for us, because we have so many kids in our neighborhood that they don't have any way to get across walkout. But I am with Rob as far as enforcement. I definitely don't think county or Crystal Lake ever enforces anything on walkout as far as speed, except in front of Veterans Acres. They sit there where it goes from 30 to 40, but they never sit, I never see them in between that route ever.
Yeah, I talked to one of the sheriff's deputies, he said the worst spot on walk-up is Mason Hill.
It's awful.
I remember Edgewood used to be terrible before they put that light in, trying to get across there and pull up.
So.
Hope you get it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just again, like Rob said, we kind of have limited resources here in Nunda, but obviously, I think most of us are in agreement.
Yeah, we can sign and ask, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can't fund it.
I appreciate that, thank you.
We'd be willing to sit down with the other ones.
Okay,
Yeah,
That
To
would
hear
be
what they have to
wonderful.
say, absolutely.
yeah, that would be great. Just District 155, come out and talk.
Keep going with it.
Yeah, and then post or communicate, if you need more parents at a board meeting, or
Yeah.
Okay,
happy to help.
thank you.
I'll have 3 going there real soon, so.
Yeah, on my third soon. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Kelly, thank you.
Wish I could stay for the rest. I had my shot my other COVID shot yesterday. I'm not feeling too well, so I'm not going to stay much. But thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 9, new business. Any new business? Number 10, old business.
I'm just excited that you made your last trip, the newsletter.
You have no idea. This one was extremely difficult.
He's gonna be disappointed not to get. the
I
new
go to
water
Island
there.
Lake and their internet's down. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's been happening a lot.
And I came
lately.
back from Peoria and I hurried up and got Crystal Lake's done because the Easter egg was going on. It was like, ah. Yeah, there were a lot of trips. I can't lift those boxes anymore. No, I can. I choose not to.
Yes.
I'm not even gonna bother. Number 11, no public comment. Number 12, reports. All right, so the windows were ordered. You did not give me a lead time. The kitchen is progressing quickly and very nicely. I'm very excited.
I haven't looked yet, but I will.
Please do.
Did you find a fridge?
No, I haven't even looked.
Right, I still have my radar on.
Okay.
See if
I was gonna call Gulgurn. I know they donated or gave us that one really cheap a million years ago. But I don't want a full size in there.
Right.
MailChimp is the sign up for the newsletter. We've gotten 414 people signed up, either directly or through contacting us. And 52 people have called and still want on the mailing list. I have to be honest, that scares me a lot because we send out 18,000 newsletters. So come the fall with leaf vacuuming. Yeah. So,
How did those people reply to you? You your last newsletter said if you want mail?
Yes,
Okay.
to call. So they've called or emailed, and then I didn't realize I put Nunda Township go to nundatownship.com, we put it at the top, we put it at the bottom of every page, but I guess nundatownship.com is Mark's. And I honestly did not know that.
Can't you click over to you?
We're
though?
super. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had another spot created on Mark's. For 10 years, I thought we were nundatownship.com. And we've been paying for it for 10 years, so, yeah, those came over. But still, it's a good amount, but it's not enough. So that concerns me a little bit, but we'll roll with that as it goes. But it's gonna be a nightmare with lead vacuum. I'm gonna call Casey and get as many homeowner association presidents that we have.
Right.
I'm just trying to get, Nunda neighborhood and whatever I can find. So if.
What about like when Mark does his, his white assessment cards? Can it get thrown on there with his next assessment mailing, which won't be for a year, but. I mean, it's just one line.
Yeah.
I don't think it would really add that much cost.
Well, it's not one line. To sign up,
Yeah. Couldn't you just sign up for newsletter ad and then just sort of,
well, it's gonna come push to shove in a couple months, so.
yeah, but if you need help starting with the associations, I can help you.
Okay, thanks.
'Cause that's a good start.
Think the waste hauler would do anything with an email blast?
I
I'm
kinda
sorry?
thought that maybe too with the, especially.
Well,
with
that,
the
I only have
consent-
414 emails.
I know, but the waste hauler should have it when they.
Oh, yes.
Can't they send out an email blast,
Probably.
2 or 3?
I'll ask them.
Yeah.
May lessen their burden down the road.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
I think it's.
Oh,
their
it's not gonna
advantage.
lessen their load. It's gonna lessen mine. They're not gonna call MDC.
You're right.
If there's
they
any
don't.
way, any chance they could come down Center in Carolina and pick up my letters, that'd be great.
Yeah. Good luck. And speaking of them, they're already calling me,
For contract.
cause it's in there if we accept their proposal, we don't have to go out to bid, so. That should be coming in the next couple months. And they're already trying to get me out of leaf vacuuming.
Have they asked for any fuel surcharges or anything like that?
No,
Additional
we are, the contract is solid, no increases. He's not sure how we got it, but we did a very good job on that.
No, we were hammering those guys. Felt bad for, what was the guy's name from Waste Management? Wayne?
No. Yeah, what was his name?
One guy was Greg York, but he wasn't the guy that came to the meetings. The guy that came to the meetings, I never even met him or talked to him again. It was handed over to some other guys.
Aren't they kinda locked into the leaf vacuuming as well with the contract? It's kind of a deal breaker, isn't it?
What?
Aren't they kinda locked into the leaf vacuuming? It's kind of a deal breaker.
I'm telling you, most companies are trying to get rid of it, from what I understand, so we'll see. He said something, I said, no. I said, I will be hung by my toenails.
Tim's right, they are locked in. If you,
For this contract,
but if you, are gonna let them renew without going
oh,
out to bid,
absolutely,
then you can hold them.
right.
Every other garbage company
Right.
nobody is signing up for leaf contracts
No.
anymore.
No, but they don't have to. They could put in a bid without it, and we could go out to bid then, is what I'm thinking. My last thing is the audit has started, so we're working on that. It's always the funnest time of year. That's all I have. Joni? Mike?
We just finished phase 3, or contractor did, our storm sewer project in Burton's Bridge. We are over there finishing up the landscape work now. We just finished, our repairs of the bridge, or rather a contractor just finished.
Oh, can I interrupt you, speaking of that? So I just wanted to thank Mike, because they were having the bridge caulked, and he and I were talking, and it was perfect timing. They came out and pulled up all the, it doesn't look pretty, but they sealed all the doorways
Oh, really?
and recaulked, and they didn't charge us.
Nice.
So thank you, Mike. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's good. So they recaulked the bridge, resealed it, replaced the bridge joints at each end, did a little structural work on one of the abutments. And,
This is Rawson Bridge,
yeah,
that's the only one you own, right?
that's correct. But, other than that, we're just paving and ditching.
All right, who wants to go first? Let's start with Karen.
I'm good, I really don't have anything. Busy time of year.
Yeah. Joanna?
I'm good, that was a good presentation, about the South Lake though. But,
Yeah, I feel like it's more progress than
it's good to
in the
hear that,
past.
hear that side, it's good.
Tim?
It's a very warm week for those viewers, the 4 to 8 that are generously watching this. They can go check on their elderly neighbors. I know air conditioning's been an issue, personally speaking. Mine went out yesterday, my son's went out 2 days ago, so check on your elderly neighbors, be safe.
Some of us live in a 120-year-old Victorian with radiant heat, I don't know what you're talking about. I just wanted to show you guys the picture of what I was talking about, just so you guys understand what I was thinking about the right in, right out. And then I'll just go over it real quick. I mean, most of it, in my belief, is enforcement, that they're not slowing traffic down and nobody's monitoring what's going on there, that's what the problem is. I looked at some of the accident reports too, and a lot of them that were listed were in the parking lot, because Dvorak Drive and Walk Up are within a quarter mile, that's what they list. They list that intersection as being the problem. So what I
Wait,
thought
what,
was,
say that again?
they,
Walk up in Dvorak, what?
is the closest intersection to the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
So when they list the accident, they say, what's the closest intersection within a quarter mile of the parking lot? They say Dvorak and Walk Up. So there's a lot of biased numbers in there that don't really, shouldn't be counted. And I'm not discrediting anything she's saying, I'm just saying you gotta also think about it, because like, here's an accident report right here, it's in the parking lot, but it says Dvorak Drive and Walk Up is where the accident occurred. Anyways, so my thought was, that road already has that dog leg in it for the turn lane. If we straighten out the center line and painted a triangular median, we put a no left turn up at the top where Crystal Lake ends, a no left turn on the stop sign, and a low left turn across the street, and somebody enforces that, we should never have a left turn accident. And we shouldn't have an issue with the kids getting hit, because the crosswalk is on the left side. Will you still have a problem with the kids going right and doing a big U-E? Yes, but that, once again, that's enforcement, so. That was my thought. I mean, I did the math real quick, I mean, that's about $1,700 and done.
$1,700.
Yeah, to paint that median and put three left turn signs, left turns are like 3 1/4.
What do you mean paint the median? Just paint it?
Paint
And
it.
wouldn't it be like a raised?
No, just paint it like a pork chop. See if it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, sandblast it
At
off.
least it can solve it for now.
Right. Like I said, in Wisconsin, when they don't want you to go left, they'll put a concrete median in the middle of a pork chop and send you one way and let the other people come.
Because
But the
then-
problem is, nobody's ever designed a right turn lane coming off Walk Up, because they've never thought that there was enough issue for it, like they did for Shenandoah and Springs and the rest of them. I think there's even one, is there one running iron? I don't think there is. That one's just so small. But anyways, that was just what I was thinking. It's not that I'm trying to change it, this is a much faster solution along with enforcement. As opposed to going through the design and estimating and the grant writing and building the project. You could be 3 years out before there's any change, where this is almost immediate.
Starts it right now.
Right. But if anybody has any thoughts about that, I'd be happy to hear about it. But-
Actually, this can take 3 years for the township, or the road district to get this approved by the county board.
Really?
This goes to the county engineer, and they will sit on things for years. Now, if somebody were to shepherd it through, but they have sat on requests for
Right.
2 to 3 years.
Right, I had listened to the transportation meeting where she presented the neighbor rebutting everything. There's a difference between want and need. Need is fund-based, want is, you gotta find somebody else to pay for it. And that's when I heard her say Nunda, I'm like, oh, no.
We don't have budgets, they do.
Right. I mean, we could sign off on whatever they need in order to apply for a grant or funding or whatever, but,
Right.
this is a good idea, except every time we do something, there's consequences.
Right.
And so, you do this, then people in, Deerwood, they're gonna be in here.
Right.
Um,
There should already be a sheriff sitting out there,
Mhm.
and we all know that, and it's not gonna be Crystal Lake, because Crystal Lake has no jurisdiction there.
Right, and it won't just be the people in Deerwood, it'll be everybody that lives on Pleasant Hill, because now
That
the kids are
makes
gonna go up
sense.
there and turn right.
Yeah.
There's every time I do something.
Everything has a
there's-
consequence, I
Yes,
understand
yes, you make certain number of people happy and not others.
What needs to happen is a sheriff's deputy needs to sit there. Or they have to put the flashing lights like Prairie Grove and put everybody on the hooks. Because you don't go more than 20 in Prairie Grove. You can take all the left turns you want on the road.
That's because they sat there
Right.
for years, so you always knew they were sitting there, so you didn't do it.
It's enforcement, it
Right.
needs to be done.
I mean, they don't do it that much anymore, but you still go by, and that's the first thing you think of is, just like when you go through Union, you know they're probably gonna be sitting there, so you slow down.
Right, well, the sheriff's department has not seen the need, obviously, to do
Right.
it, so.
Right.
I don't know. I thought about it a lot since I heard that she was gonna push this forward, which is great. If you can find the funding and get it done, please get it done, because it's all about the safety, but then again, what can we do in the meantime now?
Just solve something.
Right.
Even if you put in, no through traffic in Deerwood, you're still pushing that.
Right, doesn't it say they can't turn in there, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no
left turn.
U-turn
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there's both of them up, they're right at the edge of the.
When I first started here, the people in Deerwood were complaining that the kids were turning around in there.
In that cul-de-sac there.
So I went over and sat there and I blocked the road at that time of the day. And that got a sheriff's officer out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
The highway commissioner can't do that.
Well, it's not just kids though, cause I've done it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
it's,
done it.
Right.
yeah, if I had to pick my kids up.
I've gone right, then turn around.
Yeah, it's the fastest way to get out.
But it's, a lot of it is, like she was saying, it's that back entrance, which was supposed to be the main entrance, I've gone there, they're backed up all the way down that road, all the way back to the school, so that's why I was saying if they could change the timing of that light, east and west, to stay green longer to get them out,
Right.
and then put someone there that's getting the kids out.
Like McHenry, just get them
Right,
all.
just get them out.
Send the buses out and then the kids get their shot.
45 minutes to
Yeah.
stand there and get them
Right.
out and change the
Let
timing
the
of the
school
light.
district pay for that.
Yeah, that's what it would get them out of that faster, and yeah, there's after-school activities and there's not as much traffic
But it
after
slows down,
school.
right.
Like, you can get out that back way, it's, cause people do speed down that Pleasant. So that was, when you kinda mentioned this, that's why I was like, well, that's actually a idea, if they change that light back there, at least it'll get them
Right.
out faster,
Right.
when they're coming out to the light.
Anything else?
Okay, it's still me. Is that vac truck that Cuba's selling, does that have any value to you? The big tandem axle vac truck that they're selling?
I didn't know Cuba was selling that truck.
Big tandem axle. Got like a 503 motor in it. The 2002? I just saw it open up the other day. I wonder if that would work for your situations of cleaning out storm sewers and stuff like that. I know you said a vac, you were looking for a vac,
Yeah.
vac.
I will,
It's already your color too.
wow, I'll look tomorrow. Thank you.
And then the last thing I had was, your intergovernmental agreements, what did you do about the $10 asphalt?
I adjusted all my, I had a provision,
Okay.
to allow for, except for with Prairie Grove, I didn't have that was a verbal IGA, anyway, but, I renegotiated because
Okay.
I did not put that provision in, but, they allowed me to.
Smaller, thinner,
No,
skinnier?
no, we got more, they're paying the increase in the cost.
Good, because it's just crazy where the numbers went.
Yeah,
I just wanna make sure we're covered. That's it, that's all I got. Thank you for listening to me.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hillbilly Rita.
You want these chairs somewhere else? Or you-
No, they're fine. Thank you, though.